In this beading lesson, we're going to talk about wire-wrapped links. So there are different kinds of wire-wrapped links, and in this design it incorporates both. There's a basic link, and then there's also one that has a little more decorative wrap there, as you can see on the red bead. Now, what you need to know is there are different gauges of wire, and the thicker the gauge, the smaller the number. So 16 gauge wire is thicker than, say, 22 gauge wire, which is thinner. It's a little bit confusing, but that's one important thing to note. So I'm going to start out with the 20 gauge wire. And to make a basic link, I'm just going to cut a few inches of wire off of my spool and use my round nose pliers to make a 90-degree angle. Now, people do this differently, but this is one way to always make sure that you get a perfectly centered loop. To grab the end of the wire with the middle of your pliers and roll it back. And by rolling it back, you get that nice, even, round shape right on the end of your wire. Now you're going to pass that piece through your bead, pulling it all the way through, and then again making a 90-degree bend here. And since I'm just making a basic loop, I can bend it against my bead, then again with your round nose pliers, and making it loop. So I just turn it so that it comes all the way back around. And a lot of people don't realize when they're looking at a piece like this that the wire is actually passing through. So then I'm just going to come in with my cutter and clip off the extra wire, and I can come back with the chain nose pliers and fix this loop up a little bit. Now, if you wanted to make a bit more decorative link, I would recommend going with a slightly larger gauge when you start out. So this is 22 gauge. It's a little bit thinner, a little more pliable, and that extra wire wrapping that we're going to do is going to make it more secure. So I'll make my 90-degree angle, make my round with the round nose pliers, and then before I do any extra wrapping here, I'm going to bring in my chain nose pliers, open the loop slightly, slide my other link onto it, come back with the chain nose pliers, close it, then I'm going to hold it with the chain nose pliers and use my fingers to wrap here. That just gives me a little bit more control over what's happening here at the base of the loop. And I'll come in and wrap it around. Then I can trim off my little bit of extra. You always want to hold your finger over the piece of wire that you're trimming off, otherwise it can just go flying. Then I'm going to add my bead here. And then I would make another loop. And you can see on the finished piece that all the pieces are connected using the techniques that I just showed you. And that's our beading lesson.